I'm so excited to have Mike Lindell here today. He was the inventor. Inventor and CEO of MyPillow Inc. He started from scratch just a few years ago with an infomercial in 2011. He told me just now it ran at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it went crazy from there. He's employees. It's all made in America. He's an entrepreneur. He runs his business the same way we built this school. He holds the Guinness World Record for the largest pillow fight. 7,681 participants. I bet we could beat that here. Yeah. You willing to give away that many pillows? All right. He has 1,600 employees. He sold 41 million pillows. Yeah, that's a drop in the bucket, 41 million. You could, yeah, anyway. He helped finance recently the pro-life movie Unplanned. He's coming out this year. And please welcome to Liberty University, Mike Lindell.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell. I've invented the world's most comfortable pillow. I make them right here in the United States.
Well, we just sold our 41 millionth last
41 million MyPillow.
I get a private meeting with the president, who's now the president of the United States. I'm going and I'm invited to the National Prayer Breakfast. It's picked by 12 people to pray with Ben Carson.
I actually bought a couple of pillows and they're very good. I have to tell you, they're great. I've slept so much better ever since.
And then we have our recovery network. And with this network we're going to have like 250,000 stories of hope.
Liberty University, please welcome Mike Lindell.
Come on, everybody. Mike Lindell's in the house. Such an honor to have you with us. How many of you have a MyPillow at home, or you have one? Some of them brought their pillows. So when President Falwell said a little while ago, I think we could break that record. Obviously, we have more than 7,000 of you here today, but Mike only has broken his own record. It took how many thousand people for Guinness to record it at 7,000 or 35,000 that were there?
Yeah, there was like 40,000 there, and they have all these rules, and you have to all be swinging, but everybody was taking pictures, so they didn't get counted.
So yeah, you gotta not only have a pillow, but they're watching you with multiple cameras everywhere for you to do it. So we talked about maybe doing it here, yeah. And I told them, I said, our students will fight for 30 seconds, and they will not stop. Am I writing a check with my mouth that you'll cash, Mike?
I'll be back with that.
If you stuck a $20 bill in each pillow, we would hold this record forever, all right? So, just a hint. Hey, such an honor to have you with us. Before we get into just your life story, which is such a success story, and God's used you in such tremendous ways, take us to before MyPillow. You've always been an entrepreneur. You've always had ideas, none of them maybe as big and as successful as that, but the philosophies that you've applied in the MyPillow story have been applied to other things that you've been a part of?
Right. The last time I worked for someone was a grocery store back when I was a teenager, and worked at a drive-in movie theater, and after that I said, you know, I wanted to work for myself, and I had the entrepreneurial spirit, and things would happen, like my sister flooded a third story of an apartment building with a waterbed, and I said, I'm going to be a carpet cleaner. And I would do these, I had different businesses, the carpet cleaning. I had a lunch wagon business. I heard from a guy that, actually I was in a rehab center in the middle of the night, and he said, I said, what did you used to do? He said, well, I was in California, I had this lunch wagon business, and we'd pull up to businesses and open up, and they would get come out and get food. So I went out and I said, wow, we need that in Minnesota. And so I started that. I called my friend up. I said, come up with $10,000 for a truck, and we're gonna be huge, you know. And some of them failed. Some of them when they failed, like I was working for my uncle farming, and we had, he was raising pigs, and I said, well, why don't I just do this myself? So I went out and bought these feeder pigs, and then the market fell out of us. So there was things that happen where you completely fail, and you just get up and start again.
But the principles, you've always just been a bit of an entrepreneur that you've applied to MyPillow and this. Give us some of the things. We have students here who want to begin great businesses.
Right. When you're an entrepreneur, I had, it's taking whatever it is, if it's a product or a business. I can't say enough about getting a mentor that's been in that business, but also to reverse engineer whatever the problem is and go, how do I solve this problem? And how do I, and then to look for deviations. If you see a deviation of good or bad, if there's something good that happens, learn why it happened and follow that. And if there's something bad happened, don't do it again, and learn from it. And I applied that in all my businesses. Even I had some small town bars and restaurants that I had all these different entrepreneurial. And I learned a lot during those times too, where what did fail, I learned it up when I started the next one to learn what was wrong or right, and what to leave in, what to leave out.
Speaking of reverse engineering, let's go to the MyPillow story. There are things about that you knew were less sellable, less attractive. So you went back and rethought.
Right. Well, that was with MyPillow. That came in a dream right from God. I mean, that was a divine dream, and I dreamt of the name MyPillow first. There weren't many My's then. I might have been the first. I don't know. And I wrote MyPillow all over the house. In the middle of the night, one of my daughters came upstairs. She's like 10 years old. She goes, "What are you doing, Dad?" And I said, "I'm going to invent this pillow. It's going to be called MyPillow. It's going to change the world." And she goes, she grabbed her glass of water. She goes, "That's really random," and head back downstairs. But I thought, well, I wanted to be able to walk down the streets and anything that anybody wanted in a pillow, MyPillow would have. Or what were why didn't pillows work? And I reverse engineered it. What would they like in a pillow? Well, I'd like one that you could adjust. Here it is. I'd like one that stays cool. Here it is. I want one made in the USA. Here it is. I want one that lasts. I'm tired of buying things and, here's a 10-year warranty. I want one you could wash and dry. So every part of the problem, I came up with a solution, and I didn't get, that's why it took almost a year to invent,
That is such an incredible principle to think, what are the 5 things that are keeping someone from a product, or 2 or 3 frustrations about a product? And if you can be the solution to the frustration, then all of a sudden you can find yourself very successful.
Right. And basically, and also put yourself in the consumer or in the customer. I view every customer like it's my only customer, and taking that, whether it's a service business or an entrepreneurial product, to take it, what if you were that consumer? And, too many things nowadays are made to add in returns. Well, this many people are going to return it, and why not make it so everyone would want it? Everybody would use it, and then the word would spread. Word of mouth's a big thing.
So, Mike, you're selling so many MyPillows that when we first did our research and invited you, it was at like 41 million. Now it's at 44 million MyPillows sold, but it hasn't always been just easy street. Tell us the story of this great product.
Yeah, after I did get it invented, and I'm so excited, I actually went in a box store, and I walk in, and it was a Bed Bath & Beyond, and it was one in Minnesota, and I said, "I have the best pillow ever made," and I'm all excited, and I said, "How many do you want?" And they're going, I got so excited, they said, "You need to leave." That was all this passion, but I was turned down everywhere. I was turned down. It was a complete shutout, and I had at the time I had 4 little kids. I ran out of money, and I'm going, wow, but I had given the pillow out to my friends and family and stuff, and everybody said, I knew I had something. And someone said, "Well, Mike, why don't you do a kiosk?" I said, "Well, how do you spell that?" And I didn't know what a kiosk was. And we did this kiosk, and completely out of money, borrowed money to do the kiosk. And it didn't do that well. Only about 80 people bought them. But one of the guys that bought it, he said, "Mike, I happened to be there the one day. I couldn't talk to people. I very much had a fear of rejection. So I was, so I only worked like one day at that kiosk." And
hold on, let me just. So you've always had a fear of public speaking.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
One of the most public figures alive right now. Yeah. It's crazy that you're here.
Yeah, it went back to childhood. We moved in. My family was divorced back then when I was 7. So I had this unworthiness spirit put into a new school, and I was very shy, very introverted, and I would either do stuff to show off, or I would do, I wouldn't talk to people. You can't get rejected if you don't talk to people, and so that, and. but God overcame that through God. But when I did this this kiosk, when I did that, so I could only work one of the days because I couldn't talk to people. They would come up to me and they'd be like right there, but this one guy came up and he bought a pillow. He said, "Do you have a business card?" I said, "Just a minute, I'm all out." And I wrote it on a piece of paper. Well, that January he called me up and he said, "Are you the guy that invented this pillow here in Minnesota?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "It changed my life." And he goes, "I run the Minneapolis Home and Garden Show. Would you like a spot in there?" And I said, "Sure." Well, when I went into that show, I put a table up between me and the people, and that was kind of like my barrier. And then they all came up, and I sold them myself then. And my heart was to help people. So people that kept coming up, and they're going, if someone came up from earlier in the show, they go, "This pillow is amazing," whatever. And I felt good about myself inside. And so I was able then, the show market then, I knew that we sold out, by the way, that show. But if I stepped out from behind that table, I couldn't talk to someone. I'm going, and I step back and, "Hello, how you doing?" But then I did shows and fairs for years. But during that time, I was also a crack cocaine addict, and a lot of things happened.
Yeah, we definitely want to talk about overcoming addiction and honestly God's role in your life in that. But let's just back up just for a second. Tell us about the moment you went from 5 employees to 500, and then today 1,600 employees, many of them ex-addicts that you hired.
Right. What happened is when we get to the point, or go backtrack to, I had quit everything on January 16, 2009, freed of all my addictions. But to go ahead a little bit, the first infomercial I did, we kept being turned down everywhere, and I was doing all these home shows and fairs. I told my friends and family, I said, "We're going to bring it right to the people. We're going to make the biggest infomercial in history, and it's going to change the world, and we're going to help so many people." And we had a real audience. It was kind of like this, and I was so scared. And the night before we did our reads, and this producer was there, he said, "This guy's going to be the worst guy I've ever seen. He cannot talk. He cannot." And lucky I didn't hear that. But the next day, I'm walking up to, and they had this teleprompter, and I'm going, "And then this did this." I was so afraid. And it took 9 takes. So I said, "You know what? Bring in a table." Put the table in front of me. And I said I'd just do it like I did it for years at these shows without a teleprompter. So we did it basically live, and it aired October 7th, 2011 at 3 in the morning. I was living in my sister's basement, and I went from 10 employees to 500 employees in 40 days.
Man, and the infomercials are infamous for not working.
Yeah, they don't work. I didn't know. Nobody told me that they don't work. Infomercials are made to go into box stores and then the product dies. But nobody told me I couldn't do it, so I just kept believing I could do it.
So you believed in the product.
Yeah.
You quit being so plastic about it. You just
Right.
were authentic.
Yeah.
You sold it like you were passionate about it.
Yeah,
and
it was
$100
real.
million worth
real.
of ads later.
Right, yeah,
it's
it was
just become
real.
this phenomenon.
Yeah, it was real. I wanted to make it real. I was tired of watching stuff that was fake and not real. And I wanted to just make it so real and so with the passion and to help people. Yeah.
Tell us about your addiction, your battle with it, and then your victory over it.
Right, yeah. When I, during the 2000, I was a crack cocaine or a cocaine addict in 2000. Let's see, 1984 when I first did cocaine, and that was that fear of rejection and stuff. And I did that, and then that changed to so I was a functioning cocaine addict, but it changed to crack in the early 2000s. And during the time of my pillow, from the time I invented it, I ended up getting a divorce of 20 years, and there was people trying to take the company, all these things, but so much of my own adversity too. And in 2008, in the spring of 2008, my drug dealers in Minneapolis did an intervention on me. I came out of the room. I had been up 14 days, and they said, Mike, you've been up 14 days, you're going to sleep, we're cutting you off. And I went down, I waited till the last guy fell asleep, and I went down to the streets, and I was completely shut out. I couldn't buy crack anywhere. And I came back upstairs, and he's waiting up for me, and he goes, you've been promising us for years that this pillow was just a platform for God, and you were going to come back and help us all someday, and we're not going to let you die on us. He said, give me your phone. I'm going to take a picture. You're going to use it for that book you're writing. And here's that picture, if you guys
Yeah, this is a picture that your drug dealer took.
Yeah, the drug dealer took. And I didn't quit then, but it was actually 7 months later when my friend came to me. Now, I had lost everything. I was all by myself in this house, and here he came to me, and I had heard he was my equal. 20 years earlier, we had started cocaine together, then we had switched to crack together, but he had found the Lord and been freed of it 3 years earlier. That's what I had heard. Now, I hadn't talked to him in a year, and here he came walking in. I said, Dick, what are you doing? And he goes, the Lord led me here. He said, what's going on? And I said, well, as long as you're here, I said, I got a lot of questions for you. I said, is it boring? He said, no, man, it ain't boring. And I trusted him, and we'll talk about that in a bit, but I trusted him, and that was one of the seeds that was planted for me. So then on January 16, 2009, I had a prayer. I said, God, with this big platform and my calling, I think everybody's got a calling, and for me, that door was going to shut forever, and I just prayed. I said, I want to be freed of these addictions and desires, and the next morning I woke up and whoa!
I want you to know, one of the most giving, one of the most generous people. I have friends whose crusades, whose evangelistic events you funded. He was very adamant, I don't want to talk about or make it feel like we want to push pillows on anybody. I just want to talk about what God's done in my life. But just the generosity of the Recovery Network and so many things. Also locking arms and using his influence to do good for our country as a great patriot. I want you to see this introduction from President Trump, and then we want to talk about it. And obviously, President Falwell has a guest for us as well that I think will connect well with this. Let's watch this together. One more thing. I got it. We were watching that this morning, and we noticed this one guy, and I didn't know if it was you or someone in the audience, but I said, hold on, grab that listen to this one guy's voice when President Trump talks about my pillow. Can we show that?
I actually used him, believe it or not. But he's...
This one guy. Is that you?
No.
It wasn't you?
I was surprised, though. I was blown away when he started talking.
Yeah, President Trump goes, my pillow, and this one guy's like, whoa! It came from the belly. Your pillow either saved his marriage or his job, or maybe he got thrown off a boat and like your pillows float. Something about your pillow. Can we watch it just one more time? It might have been a Liberty student.
I actually used him, believe it or not.
That's amazing.
That was a surreal moment. That was an absolute surreal moment. I was at that rally and I heard him talking about me. That's like, just to backtrack on that, in 2015, I had a dream, one of my God dreams, that I would be in a room with then President, our candidate, with Donald Trump. And about 2 weeks later, he announced he was running for president. I'm going, okay, what does this all mean? Well, then I kept that dream that I had. In 2016, I got an email from him that said, Mike, would you come, this is Donald Trump, would you come and meet me at Trump Tower in New York City? And I'm going, what? And I had this meeting with him, this private meeting for a half hour, and I got in there and I go, wow, we talked about, he noticed my cross first that I always wear on TV. He said, Mike, you always wear your cross, are you a Christian? And I said, yes, Mr. Trump, and this is a divine appointment. And we talked about the Made in America, my company, Made in the USA, and what he was going to do for the inner cities and just his passion to help the country. I walked out of there and I didn't know anything about politics. I go, wow, this is going to be the best president in history. And I was all in. I went all in, and I'll tell you, I'm so proud of him now, everything he's done. But my friends are all seeing that, and about a year later, I went to the White House. I was invited to the White House, and I walked in there, and there was a manufacturers summit for Made in the USA, and there's an empty seat here, and I said, who's sitting here? And he goes, the president is. He wanted to sit by you. And I'm going, what? And I'll tell you, at that moment, all my friends are going, what's Mike doing? He's sitting with the president. He goes, this has to be Jesus. There is no way this ex-crack addict could be hanging around with the president. And so for me, it was such divine appointments that I seen happen throughout this whole election, and it was just amazing.
Well, I just didn't want to miss this opportunity because these two gentlemen are the perfect example of what you all need to learn while you're at Liberty about what it means to be an entrepreneur, what it means to try and fail and keep trying and keep fail until finally it works. Tony Nobles is the inventor. How many patents do you hold? Medical inventions?
More than 100. I don't know.
More than 100. He came. I didn't know till just now that he was here from L.A.
Oh, yeah.
He came in from L.A.
What?
You came in here from L.A. today, right?
Yeah, this morning.
He lives in Los Angeles, but he's the one that invented the device that they use to close the hole in my heart, which will keep me from having strokes and migraines. But he's just an incredible. His story. Tell them about what happens when you interview young people like them, and they have a certain attitude from other schools, and then what happens if they have the attitude that our students have. Remember that story?
Yeah, it's interesting when, and first of all, thank you for, I hate taking time away from my good friend Mike.
I met Tony, he's awesome.
we share a lot in common, but to share the story he's talking about is, I own a lot of companies around the world, and I still personally interview young people who come in for a job, and we were talking about many of the students that come in to interview will literally come in front of my desk, put their leg up like this and say, so, what's your company going to give me? What's it going to do for me? And I'm like, okay. Well, why don't we start with what you can offer the company, and then the company will take care of the rest. And what I find ironic is when they ask me, the number one question I get asked by students who don't get it is, within the first 5 minutes is, well, what does it pay? And okay, I'll answer your question, it pays X. And they say, okay, and then what's my guaranteed bonus? And I said, well, the concept of guaranteed bonus doesn't exactly click in my head, but I asked, can you define this? And I hear the same story all the time. Well, the salary is what I get for showing up. What do I get if I actually accomplish something? It's like, okay. Well, let me help you. There's the door. Have a nice day. Goodbye. But the real goal is, and something I discovered when I came here and we spoke that one day, and I was talking about my past growing up, not exactly the same, but in similar ways to Mike. I came from less than nothing, made it really big, and then was crushed and had to start all over again twice. And still managed to build a reasonably decent empire around the world by taking and understanding people and listening. And honestly, when I came here and I gave that talk and I was listening to the students who were raising questions from the medical school, hey, I've got this great invention, how do I get there? Not, hey, what are you going to give me? And so that was so important to me. And just recently, through a series of events and strange events, I ended up here at Liberty because there's something about you, all of you, that when I came here and Jerry took me around, introduced me to school, showed me this place. First time in my life like this. I literally felt God say, come here, and changed the direction of my life. And that was specifically because there's something about you and what you did here as an entrepreneur that, okay, but then there was also something telling me that you are the kind of people that if I can give back to you what I know, you'll be the ones not just sitting in front of me saying, what can I do for your company? You'll be the ones sitting here saying it to the future students, what can you do for my company? Because I want to help make you that entrepreneur. If you have that drive and that desire to be like this, then you know, my goal is to help. And that's why I've decided to align myself with Liberty and the dream that you guys have here. So I'm going to be helping out. And if I can create one of you that's like this, then I've succeeded. Hopefully more than one.
And it doesn't matter what you're studying, he wants to teach every one of you how to be entrepreneurial in whatever field you end up in. So that's going to be his role here. He's going to, his family's going to stay in California, I guess, but,
Yes.
but he's going to be back and forth a lot. I just wanted you to meet him, and this was not planned, and I'm throwing Mike and David's script probably way off, but you guys go ahead, and but I couldn't let him come all the way from LA and not introduce him to you guys.
No, actually, I think it's divine appointment.
Yeah,
It's
I
such a
met,
great
I
thing.
met Tony in a divine appointment about 1.5 years ago, and what an amazing place and what an amazing things God's doing in his life, what his calling's been to save millions of people's lives in the future and now. God bless you.
Since we have you
He
here,
went to the South Pole with Buzz Aldrin, the astronaut.
Wow.
And he had to send Buzz back because he was a little worried about some health issue. But tell him about your car collection.
Well, I was planning, actually you could do it because you've been there, you've seen it. I like cars. I like lots of cars. But I'm more proud of people like this and the things that we do. But yeah, no, that's one of the rewards. Actually, the only thing I will say about the cars that's important is we all do it. Even though we know we're supposed to do this for his glory and we're supposed to show what we do, deep down inside you have to have a personal motivation. Not just, I mean, you've got to have God there, but you also have to have something that drives you. My passion was cars. I was originally from the ghettos of Detroit, and crawled out of there, believe me, crawled out of there. And I had a passion for cars, not because of Detroit, but because when I was a homeless child, I was living on the street and I saw Ferrari go by on a TV screen. And I said, I'm going to have one of those someday. It just there was something passionate about it that made me want to succeed. And one of the other kids that was living basically in the junkyard with me said, you'll never have that. And that stuck in my head. And every time I failed, it was that voice going, you'll never have that. So the cars were more of a symbol to me to prove to myself that I will have that. I kind of went out of control with that, but anyway, yes. But it's a passion.
Now I'm way off script. Sorry, Mike.
no, you actually, first of all, don't miss two things real quick. And you can't leave because I have a question for both of you. Number one, our president is constantly looking for world leaders that he can bring into the intersection of you looking for jobs and you getting opportunities that aren't afforded to anyone else. I mean, the Hendricks Corporation and great leaders like Tony and Mike coming all the time here, bringing us opportunities. And what we love about it is when Liberty students go and work in organizations like yours, they don't ask those questions. They ask a different set of questions because they have a different set of values, kingdom values. And also, our job placement is so much above and beyond. Our loan repayment is so much above and beyond the national average because Liberty students have a greater drive than what's here on earth. We have an eternal value system. Can you give us two things you look for when you're hiring someone? They're all going to be applying for jobs. What is your world leaders?
I look for the passion that they want to do. It's something they want to do that matches my company values. That they, our faith. We give the glory to God, and they come in and they want to be a part of it. And I really look for that. And then I also, and even if it's someone that's, getting a second chance, I'm a company of second chances. We're like a big family. 500 of my employees at least have my direct phone number, and they say, well, how can that happen? You get calls every day. No, they call me if there's a deviation or a problem. Whether it's even with somebody in the company, we don't have a typical HR. We have like a help center. So if you're having struggles and it's a deviation from norm, I might even myself come in and say, hey, we're going to get you some help, and they start crying, going, that's awesome. And that's what we look for. And it's basically the passion, the same passion that goes all the way down in a company like you have here at the university.
Mike, over 20%, 30% are actually people who had drug addiction in their past as well? You really are a place of second chances.
I mean, I don't know my exact statistic at my pillow, but there's a lot of them, and most of them, they come out of it, they succeed. Back when I went from 5 employees to 500 at one time, they in 40 days they sent a couple of guys. They had just had some bad things happen about the previous week, and we were working on this little schoolhouse. They sent them down to me, and they go, these guys that were involved in that thing at the bar the other night are coming down to talk to you. And they came down. We didn't have an HR. We were in that 10 employees to 500 growth, and I looked at them. I said, are you guys involved in that thing last week? And they said, yeah. And I said, well, you haven't done anything bad today, right? And they go, not today. And I said, well, what's your name? And they said, Luke and Mark. And I said, those are 2 good names in the Bible. I said, I'm going to be watching you, but I'm giving you a chance. They were with my company for 3 years.
That's amazing, man. Thank you for sharing that. Thanks for believing in people. A lot of times people will just not want the liability, and so they just give up on people. Tony, what is one piece of advice you'd give someone who's interviewing for any job out there as a leader?
Well, again, I think probably the best thing that you can do in an interview, if you're sitting in front of anybody, is to walk in with a good, solid knowledge of what job you're walking into. Do your research, and again, explain to them, this is what I can do for your company. That's what I want to hear in an interview, is someone who says, I have a passion for saving lives. That's what we do, is our businesses are all about saving lives. And when someone says to me, I'm going to tell you up front, I might not be the best engineer, but I'm going to be, because I have a passion for what I'm doing. And I would rather hire somebody with less experience. I actually usually don't hire the guy with 30 years experience to run one of my companies or one of my I get the guy who I've had enough experience, I know it, but I want to learn. And the one other thing I would say at advice is, when you're sitting in front of your boss and your boss says, and you're supposed to know this because you're an engineer or a finance person or a lawyer, and your boss says, okay, on this deal, you need to do this, 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 this. You understand, right? You know what we're doing? And you go, I'm supposed to know that. Yeah, I got it. And you walk out of the room. That's the biggest mistake you'll ever make in your career. Put your hand up and say, I know this is going to sound bad. I know I should know this, but I don't. But if you give me a minute, I'm going to go find out. And that has saved more jobs in my companies than anything else, is admitting when you don't know, but say, but I'm going to. Now that you've asked me, I'm going to go find out.
President Follow.
Rick Hendrick owns 104 car dealerships, and he was so impressed with the Liberty graduates that he hired that he helped start the automotive dealership management program here. And he said their attitude, they don't come in after 6 months expecting to be promoted to vice president or something. They're fine just working their way up and earning. And I won't say who it is, but we had a speaker at commencement a few years ago who the next day his son was graduating from Duke, and he said he couldn't believe the difference being here. The attitude here was, what can we, from our students, is what can we do to serve others? When he got to Duke, he said the attitude was entitlement. We're the elite. We're the best. We deserve. And he said it blew him away. 2 days to see that kind of contrast. So it's a real testament to you guys.
Yeah. President Follow, will you, we've heard from 2 leaders. 1,500, hundreds of, you have 6,000 employees. I'm one of them.
9,000.
9,000, I'm sorry. I'm one of them. And so from adjunct professors around the world to faculty to staff to HR to just, what do you look for in someone when you're looking to add someone on your team?
Liberty was built, my father was just He never met a stranger. He was always upbeat and positive, no matter how difficult the struggles were that we were going through financially. And he attracted people who had that same positive attitude. And for that reason, we never had battles over theological issues, or I mean, it was just what can we do to help others? And that group that he hired in the beginning attracted people of like mind. And so we still have, people walk around campus and they say, students will stop. Students will stop and ask us if we need help, and most college campuses, they won't make eye contact with you. And it's just a spirit that grew out of his love for people, and it's just perpetuated itself. And
So it's the fruit of the Spirit. I think that's the common denominator, and that's really what drives our culture more than anything else. Christ drives our culture, and so that's what we love. Can we thank Tony and President Falwell for coming? That was really an awesome little add-on. We have a fun way. We have a fun way that we want to end our time with Mike. Mike has sold 44 million pillows, and so we thought he should recognize his own pillow. And so, Mike, would it be fair to say that if we put blindfolds on you and we made you put your head on different things, you would recognize a My Pillow versus other?
I think anyone that has a My Pillow would recognize My Pillow.
All right, so here we go. We're going to do this.
It's test and pass.
All right. So, Mike, if you, go ahead and cover up, brother, if you don't mind. You guys want to see this? You want to see Mike recognize? Let's put this to test. He does not know. He does not know what's going to happen. So here you go, brother. Come on. Come with us, Mike. Thank you. We do have a seat right here. All right, turn around. Can we get up for Mike Lindell, everybody? Give it up for Mike Lindell. All right. Mike, scoot this way a little bit more. All right, have a seat. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to have you laid this way. Go ahead and put the first one down. The first one, all right? And it'll say on the bottom third what it is. The first one, Mike, ready? Go ahead and you can go ahead. Yeah, tell us what it is. Is that a My Pillow?
No, for sure not. It's horrible.
It's horrible? Yeah. Well, Mike, that's That's a $175 Tempur-Pedic pillow right there.
Well, they've ruined America.
All right, here's the second one, Mike. Tell me if this is a My Pillow. Go ahead. Mike, what do you think that is? Is that a My Pillow?
No, that feels like bananas or something.
Yes, it is, Mike. Wow. Mike knows Braille. Banana Braille. All right, so we got one more.
Although it might be better than some pillows out there.
Okay, Mike. Here we go. This one costs even more than $175 right here. Go ahead, Mike. Come on down. You can trust us. Mike, we're Christians. That's the Hello Kitty pillow, Mike. That's the Hello Kitty, Mike.
I don't know what that was.
All right, all right, the next one, I got to tell you, I've tried this pillow. I've tried this pillow in the past. This is perhaps our finest pillow. Come on, everybody. Mike, this is called the Lou Wider pillow. Give it up for the Lou Wider pillow. The Caesar pillow, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my goodness. We're going to get sued for that one. Lou, you can't sue us. All right, here it is. See if you...
Now, that's a My Pillow.
Yeah! Can you give us, while you're laying here, hold on, Mike, we're going to... Can you give us the jingle? Can you just give us the jingle?
But you're looking good. I knew you would.
Come on, everybody.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world.
For the best wife. What is it?
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, mypillow.com.
Come on, everybody. Put your hands together. Oh, my brother. All right, last thing. Mike, you're doing incredible work. Before we get out of here, we want to We want to just pray for you. What is something we can be praying for right now?
Well, you can, a couple of things. My stepdad's in brain surgery as we speak in Minnesota. That's one thing that he'll be a success. And also, I'd like to pray for my Lindell Recovery Network. What I'm going to do is for all over the country and world, you're going to go to this website, and I've gathered stories of hope. So let's say you're a 22-year-old opiate addict. You might not relate to a 50-year-old meth addict, but you'll put in your age and your addiction, and all these stories of hope are going to come down. And then I'm going to be like your tour guide of the website, and I'll say, you guys, go over here. Here's your help. And these are your faith-based treatment centers like yours that I have vetted, like Salvation Army, Teen Challenge, Union Gospel. Those are the ones that work. And then when you get out of there, I'm going to have paid mentors all over the country that are going to be there for these addicts when they get out. So it's going to be a complete circle of help. And I just pray for that somebody out there today, I pray that someone out there today, that my story changes a life, and that we can together beat this terrible opiate addiction that we're facing today in our country.
We asked Mike if we could take a full photo because his book's coming out. It'll be probably #1 in the world, and it'll probably be made a movie one day. And so we thought this is a good shot for us to maybe end up. Would you like to end up in the book maybe as a picture? So Mike, come on up here in the middle. All right, everybody stand up real quick. We're going to take a photo together. First, Mike, turn around. Let me make sure all right, everybody turn around. Up here in the middle, some of you that can scoot in a little bit, all right? All right, let's take a few photos with Mike, and then we'll get out of here. Mike, turn around, if you don't mind first. Yeah, then we'll do this one. All right? Everybody wave. All right, we're going to get another one. Hold on. She's going to go like this. She's going to go section, 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 so she can get it all pieced together. Ready? But stay still. Whatever you're doing, stay still. There you go. Ready?
And then everyone go, you're looking good. I knew you would. Go, hey! Hey!
All right. Hey, everybody. One more time. Can we thank Mike? Did a phenomenal job. Such a good brother.
Bless you all.
Hey, Mike wants to meet you if you want to take a picture. He's going to be side stage. I'm sorry, he's going to be up in the corridor. All right. So if you want to meet Mike, go on up. He'll take as much time as he needs to meet every single one of you. All right. You're dismissed. God bless you guys.
Thank you all.